On August 3rd of 2026, the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, published a request for comments that could reshape which drones can legally enter the United States market. Now, in plain English, really what they say is that, well, certain drones that are currently approved by the FCC would no longer be able to be sold in the US. Now, the categories that are being proposed for prohibition are described as military grade. Now, the definition, though, which we're going to talk about in a minute, is, well, a bit overreaching. An important point here to get started. This is not a notice of proposed rulemaking. We've talked about these a lot on this channel. This is a public notice that is issued by two FCC bureaus, the Public Safety and Homeland Security Bureau, and then the Office of Engineering and Technology. Now, the practical difference really matters here because the authority has already been delegated. The bureaus can act on the record that they built without having a separate vote from the full commission. And even worse, they aren't required to outline the proposed rules and even have a specific rule in mind at the time of publication, which is a little bit crazy. Now, a quick recap here for those of you that may have missed it. Late last year, December 22nd of 2025, the Public Safety and Homeland Security Bureau added all UAS and UAS critical components that are produced in a foreign country to what is called the FCC covered list. Now, this meant that anyone on the covered list would not be able to get new products. Important distinction here on the new, approved by the FCC to be imported, advertised, and therefore sold in the United States. Now, that addition here rested on national security determination that was issued by an executive branch interagency body that allegedly included some national security agencies. Now, today, the FCC public notice targets foreign-produced drones that are authorized before the December 2025 deadline. Now, this proposal would label certain models of drones that a lot of you watching this video currently fly as military-grade UAS, and as such, prevent them from being sold in the United States. And to be clear here, before we move on to the details, drones that you already bought and you fly today are not affected by this notice. But should you break a drone, need parts, or try to find a total replacement, well, this likely will affect you. So, what does the notice actually say? The bureaus here propose 7 different categories that would qualify a UAS as military grade. And the definitions draw on the other agencies' regulation that are governing high-risk UAS. Category 1. Aircraft that are weighing 55 pounds or more at takeoff. In other words, anything that falls outside of the FAA's definition of a small unmanned aircraft. Now, the rationale here is cited as payload capacity, endurance, and range. Category 2, aircraft that are capable of dispensing economic poison, as that term is defined and used in FAA rules. This captures agricultural spray platforms regardless of the weight. Category 3, aircraft that contain or integrate sensors that are capable of thermal imaging. Now, the document here defines this as the ability to capture and translate temperature differences between objects along with heat signature and the residual heat signature. Category 4, aircraft that contain or integrate LiDAR sensors that are described as remote sensing that measure the distance by illuminating a target with a laser and then analyzing the reflected light. Category 5, UAS docking stations that are defined as multi-purpose systems that allow an aircraft to land, take off, recharge, swap the batteries, and then transfer the data and the payload. Category 6, aircraft that are specifically designed to incorporate a defense article. Now, granted, this one can probably be removed from the list as far as the people that are watching this video are concerned. Category 7, swarming UAS. Now, this covers 2 different things. First, ground control stations that are purpose-built for managing drone swarms or aircraft integrated with flight control systems designed for swarm management. Second, aircraft purpose-built to fly in coordinated and synchronized formation. The label here attached to these categories is military grade, like I mentioned, but the test being applied is capacity-based rather than use-based, okay? So an aircraft qualifies because of what it can do, not because of who operates it and what mission it actually flies. And that distinction here, of course, has real consequences for 3 categories in particular. You probably have thought about it already as you're listening to me, but number 1, thermal imaging is standard equipment across roof and moisture surveys, across solar panel inspections, electrical utility work, and search and rescue. Number 2, LiDAR is basically a standard across surveying, corridor mapping, and forestry. And of course, many recreational drones are also going to use LiDAR technology for collision avoidance. Neither sensors are really exotic in the commercial sector or even in the recreational world. And then number 3 is category 7 that reaches the drone light shows. Light show platforms are purpose-built for synchronized formation flight, which places them squarely inside of the stated definition. Now, the bureaus here appear to be aware of the breadth of the classification. The document explicitly asks for public comments on 7 different topics. Okay, I'm going to go through all of them because they're all very important. They need to be included in your letter when you write your comment. Number 1, whether the list adequately captures military-grade system. Whether anything that is listed is not actually military grade, and whether anything military grade has been left off. Now, those questions are a wide open invitation for the record to narrow and possibly to expand those categories, hopefully to narrow them. Number 2, another open invitation for comment. The FCC here thinks that they concluded that the economic and supply chain impact will be relatively minor and contained, and specifically ask commenters to provide data and specific evidence of economic costs. Okay. The good news is that this is something that you can directly rebut right here with numbers. Tell them about not only the cost of replacing your drone, if there is even a replacement with a new drone. Also, be sure to point out the ecosystem cost point right here. The switching manufacturers is going to mean replacing batteries and payloads and chargers and controllers, possibly even software, training, calibration, RTK equipment, docks, API integration, and then of course absorbing the downtime, not just the aircraft itself. Number 3 of the points here, the FCC proposes a 180-day implementation period after the final action and then asks whether that's enough. Now, the FCC here explicitly asks commenters to address inventory that already has been imported and is sitting on shelves, new models that are currently en route and pending shipment, and equipment that is under signed distribution or sales agreement that haven't entered the supply chain just yet. Now, if you're a dealer or if you have a fleet that is purchased on order, that detail is going to belong in your comment. Number 4, the FCC specifically asks whether the national security benefit outweighs the economic and supply chain impact. In other words, the question is preventing thousands of American businesses that rely on drone technology to have access to a drone or any drone, is that worth the national security benefit? I'm going to let you decide on that one. Number 5, domestic alternatives. This is where things get interesting. The FCC directly asks, are there domestically produced alternatives for the so-called military-grade drones and components? Would switching to trusted equipment actually be cost-effective for the public? Would your compliance costs go down after replacing your fleet? So if you've actually shopped for an American-made replacement for your thermal or your LiDAR platform, this is where your research is going to pay off. Don't just say there isn't one if there is an alternative, okay? We know there are alternatives. Explain why the alternative you found does not support your sensor, does not have the flight time, costs 3 times as much, or has a 6 months lead time. Remember, an alternative exists and an equivalent commercially viable alternative exists are 2 different things. And of course, for recreational users and prosumers, there are not any alternatives that are available. So make sure that you describe what you have right now and how it's not available elsewhere. Number 6, the supposed economic upside. Now, the Bureau here concludes that banning foreign-made drones would generate substantial investment in domestic production, pointing to the billions of dollars that already exist and have been raised in the US drone makers, and at the thousands of manufacturing jobs that have been created since the covered list edition. Then they ask, do commenters agree on this? If your experience is that domestic investment hasn't yet translated into products that you can actually purchase and fly today, then that's relevant information here that you need to put on the record. Number 7, whether these systems pose particularly acute national security risk. Now, beyond the general covered list determination, the FCC specifically invites comments on whether military-grade drones, as they are currently defined, pose especially severe risk of any kind described in the national security determination: unauthorized surveillance, data exfiltration, or supply chain vulnerabilities. If you're a commercial operator, you can speak on how your data is actually handled, local storage, no cloud sync, talk about firmware control, whatever applies to your operation. This is also worth noting here that this is a bit of a weird question to ask when we've been told for years that these drones do pose a national security risk and that there is proof. Are we not sure anymore? Sure sounds like it to me. Also, I do need to mention that this proposed prohibition is going to carry some carve-outs. And it would not apply to non-military grade drones and components, aka everything that is not covered by this list, which is not much, quite frankly. It doesn't apply to domestically produced equipment, it doesn't apply to drones that are on the blue UAS cleared list, or anything that is exempt from the covered list. So, and of course, I need to clear again that if you have a drone that you already purchased, then you can still fly that. That is not covered under this as well. That's definitely very important in this video. But as many of you have realized by now, this proposal would prevent most commercial operators, recreational flyers, public safety agencies, enterprise operators from having access to any available drones. In many cases, the drones that would fall under all of these 7 categories simply do not have a non-foreign made drone replacement. And here's where the FCC logic starts eating itself. The reason the Bureau expects the economic impact to be so minor is, in their own word, that military-grade drones are a minority of the market, and that recreational consumers are unlikely to be flying military-grade UAS. That sounds reasonable, right? Well, except remember how they define military grade. Any aircraft that contains or integrates a LiDAR sensor is going to qualify. Well, guess what technology many consumer drones are going to use for obstacle avoidance? LiDAR. So, under the FCC's own definition, the drone sitting in your backpack right now is military-grade equipment. Insane. That premise right here, that recreational flyers are not going to be affected, is contradicted by the very list in that same document here that is proposed 2 pages earlier. You cannot write a definition that is broad enough to capture a sub 250 gram camera drone and then conclude that everyday users are not going to feel the impact. This proposal seems to impact every DJI drone that are currently on the market, including the consumer models from the Neo 2 all the way to the Agras and the Flight Cart. And likewise, this proposal would remove the ability for you to purchase existing models of most Autel drones, Photokites, Leica LiDAR drones, Swiss drones, ACSL, Soten, Evolve Dynamics drones, and plenty more, unless these companies eventually receive a waiver. So what can you do, you might ask? Well, file a comment, and you can go to the address right here, and you can follow the instructions. You're looking for Docket PS 26-189. In your comments, be specific, be personal, be professional. Unprofessional comments are going to be ignored, as well as off-topic comments. Keep it on topic, answer the questions that we mentioned, and be very specific on how this is going to affect you. Comments are due by September 2nd of 2026, which is right around the corner. So click on the link in the description to make your voices heard. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.